Hey y'all!
Hi.
Welcome back to another episode of Car Seat Conversations.
We missed you guys.
Yes.
We are doing our best.
Doing our best.
Just know that.
Yeah.
But we're here now though.
Yeah, we are.
We're here
And
now.
this is our second. Oh, this is cute because it should be on Valentine's Day.
That is
Adorable.
That's
Okay, cool,
cute.
cool,
That's
cool.
cute.
Okay, so we have some special guests. If you haven't caught the hint, our husbands.
Y'all can come out.
Oh my gosh! Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
You want to introduce yourselves?
My name is James.
All right.
My name is Carl.
Oh my god!
That's a good
Yes.
Yeah, we're recording. Say hi.
And this is...
Right. So
Say hi. Okay. Good job.
I love it. So we wanted to have the dads on just to cause y'all hear the mom's perspective all the time. Like we yap to y'all and talk about our disdains, but also our loves. And we wanted to, just get their perspective. So we're hoping that they'll be raw and honest.
I think so. I mean, they always are.
Yeah.
So.
People be acting different when they get on camera.
People.
They're not.
You people.
They're not.
You people? Okay. First question. 2 years into this parent game. 3 years almost. Oh my gosh.
Almost 3 years.
What would y'all say is the hardest? Okay, one, I want to ask just about having a pregnant wife. What was it like?
She did go
Yeah.
upstairs. Yeah.
Go ahead, so.
What was it like supporting your wife? What was it like y'all watching labor and just watching just being a partner, in that position? How does it feel to be a dad? Because I feel like as a mom, we're carrying the baby,
Mm-hmm.
it's very it's a very physical experience for us. So for y'all, you are kind of like the witnesses,
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to do this in 3 parts. The first part was finding out when Paloma was going to be here in this earth. I was doing a project out in LA, and I was living my best life as a young black man in this world. And I remember this conversation, so this is for part 1. And she told me, and I was like, oh, snap, okay. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm going to this party.
No, let's just
No.
I'm going to this party.
Let's just pause for a second.
The men's episode.
It is the man's episode with my input. Let's just pause for a second. Isn't it interesting how men, and maybe I can only speak for some men, but some men they think this is a joke. No, here's my thing. So men will want to have a baby, let's have a baby, right?
Yes.
I'm like, okay. I'm a little hesitant, a little nervous, but I'm like, okay. Because in my mind, I'm thinking about every single stage that is going to happen. I'm thinking about when he asked me, let's start trying, I'm thinking about the newborn stage. I'm not going to get any sleep. I wasn't even thinking about the pregnancy at that point. I'm thinking about oh my God, let me think about life trajectory.
I didn't think about none of that.
I thought about all of it.
Any of that. I was well, one, it was pandemic time.
Mm-hmm.
And so as an artist, I wasn't working.
Yeah.
And so it felt well, damn, if I'm not working. And in my mind, the pandemic felt like it was going to last forever.
Mm-hmm.
Now we were in the pandemic and now he's 2 and we're totally out the pandemic. It's not even a pandemic world. So I was I didn't think about nothing we're going through now I thought about, which is why I'm probably having a hard time.
No, stop. You're not having a hard time.
Yeah.
I don't know. So it was Richard's idea to have a baby.
Okay.
It wasn't my idea. I wasn't ready. I didn't want to at that point. I wanted to wait. But that's true, is it not?
My idea to have a baby. No, I was a young man, not knowing what things could do when things pop off and combust.
Is that what
At the end of the day, before part 1 was, you was on, birth control for a while and you had just got off. So I was like, look, let's just see what happens. You know what I mean? That's what happened. I was like,
Cut off 3 months before our wedding.
Look, it was a blur.
He don't even
That it was a blur.
It was a blur. But I was just seeing what happened, and it happened, and
Yeah.
so it came to
Not
part
testing
one.
science.
Not for real. So part one, when I found out, it was more of me just being a young man out in LA doing a project, having a good time. And I get this call saying my wife is pregnant, and I'm like, oh snap, I gotta think about this money. You know what I mean? But let me still go to this party real quick.
Do you remember what you said? He said, "What about our finances?"
No, for real, that's real. And then part two happens probably like 3, 4, 5 months in. I think it was like 3 to 6. I was making some good money, and I was feeling good. I was like, we was getting prepared, looking for a place to stay and all the good stuff. And I think we're in Atlanta at that time. We're looking for a place in Atlanta, I think. And then part 3, it got to nitty gritty. I was like, oh snap, her body's changing, the baby's moving. We trying to do this, that, and the third. And I'm like, I can't do this because I see my baby moving. And I'm like, what's going on? So, a lot of that was like an emotional trial for me. From part 1, 2 to 3 to figure out, okay, this is about to happen. And then birth.
Which is a whole other story.
Yeah, I'm not good at stories if y'all haven't known this. That's why I don't really do these things, but I'm here.
For me, I knew from the gate, like, okay, this is a baby moment. And our experience, I was in a totally different place that you were used to, upstate New York. So it was a big change for me. But by that time, we got a place. We were in Kingston. I don't know. I didn't really. I was very confident in the experience up until that point. There was nothing that happened that made me. I don't know. Yeah, it seemed like we was on the same page. There were certain things that we both didn't know, but we felt. It felt. I mean, you speak to it how you speak to it, but it felt like a mutual. Let's go.
How did you feel like seeing the baby grow and stuff like that?
Oh, that was amazing. Like my very first experience seeing up close and personal, like the full stages, was my sister.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, yeah.
So to see Zaire just from inception to out, I kind of felt like that was my prep, rather. And so I was just on deck. Like, I was in the mindset of everything from the womb is going to be the beginning stages of what this person is going to get. So that's when I'm drumming at your belly. We saying things. Like, I would be very intentional about, like, the music we was playing. I'm trying to bump. Like, what he gonna be listening to? And then that was really the main thing. I just wanted to make sure that we were mentally and emotionally more like, let's stay in a certain type of vibe, so that way we don't. Because my literal experience, my mother told me that what she was going through when she was pregnant with me, she was really angry. She had some frustrations, and so she said I balled up in her stomach. And so she said I was like a knot in her. So she went to, she ended up, calming down and whatever the case. And she said when she got the opportunity to, I think she went to my aunt's house or whatever. And when she finally calmed down, she said her belly got even bigger because I relaxed and I stretched out. So I was thinking about stuff like that, like, dang, like what are we gonna do that may or may not impact him before he even, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
That's real.
Yeah.
but
Yeah. I feel like you were super intentional just about like the environment and all that. I just wonder about, me and Sam talk a lot about just like our expectations of ourselves, like as like a modern day young mom. Like our last episode, well, it'll probably be our next episode, but we talked about discipline and just like certain ways that we discipline and stuff like that. And, it's just, it can be different from the norm. So with everything that's like out on social media with like how to be a man and how to be like a provider and like things like that, how has that like impacted you in your relationship? Because I mean, every relationship is different, every household is different, you know, like there are things you may do as a wife that I may not do as a wife, you know what I'm saying? And so what does that look like for y'all, like going into manhood? You know what I'm trying to say, Sam?
Yeah, I think it's what you're saying, like, well, to put it simple, are you talking about like as a father, what does it look like disciplining?
I didn't have my dad in my life, and so watching Munir father has like healed me in a way that like has healed me in a way. No, like when people would say that, I'd be like, you know, how does that heal you? Because like it's not your father, but like seriously, like it just shows me that, like you said, it's kind of who that person is. Like, and even like we all have exes. Like I feel like I've dated people that I'm like, like you wouldn't look out for me like that. You know what I'm saying? Or like, how would you treat your kid? Or like, but you're right. And when I look back, a lot of them didn't have that community invested into them. It's one thing to have a community invested into you, like not just your parents, not just your aunties and uncles, like teachers, you know, mentors and places. Like we all have, in our kind of community is a collective community.
People don't
you know,
have that, and
people,
it's evident.
it makes a difference. It makes a difference. And like even how you're supported, like your mom put us together. You know what I'm saying?
She
you know what I'm
loves
saying?
To talk about that. I'm like,
does her mom play matchmaker? But literally, you know, and I think like even as a mom, I think it just makes you better parents, and I think it shows how important like just like community is. So yeah, what's something as a like with your wives that you've maybe had like some frustrations with?
don't get me.
Because we've talked about our frustrations with dad sometimes.
Yeah,
so do y'all have like any frustration?
Oh Lord, why you?
No.
They're ready for this one.
Look. Nah, not on no OD, but off the strength of what you just said.
Yeah.
One of the big things that frustrated me was because you weren't used to having a father or a man operate in a certain sense, there will be things that
I'm beat out.
I went to this trajectory of like, okay, the people that were in my life that got me to this space, it wasn't just men, it was also women. And I think some people forget that in regards to how we navigate life as men, is the women in our lives as well. Like the Don Axums, like the Tamika Andrews, my grandmother as well, Carol. So I think I grasped onto the people who instilled in me, and also I'm an old man at heart as well. So the podcast today's and this, that, and the third, I only look at Facebook and Instagram. That's all I have. I don't even
Facebook.
No, for real. I don't have no Twitter.
No TikTok.
I don't have no TikTok. I only signed up on Facebook.
Please. Not you only Meta.
No, it's really bad. It's really bad. Shoot, I'd go back to MySpace if I wanted to, but
Jesus. Well, I would go back to me too.
y'all had Bebo.
oh yeah, it's Bebo. Bebo all day.
I don't know about Bebo.
But
I'm the youngest.
it was the men and the women in my life that, you know, made it. Also, just grasping on it and allowing them to come into my body, into my spirit, to allow that. And I didn't understand that until I got older. Yeah. But some people don't understand that.
That's the literal same page for me. Like my father figures, my father is a representation of that as well, and my big brother father figures, like the social media thing never fazed me. Like it never fazed me. Now I'm not saying that I don't agree with certain things on social media, but just being caught up in the whirlwind of like the major, like I'm supposed to do this, I'm supposed to do that. It's like, I think my main thing from the jump was for us to figure out what it is that we want as a unit, and we got to come to terms with that, because regardless of what I think or don't think, if you don't like it, it don't matter what they say, I say, then that's a decision that you got to make. Like, I'm not rocking with it. It don't matter if it's like right or wrong, yes or no, it's going to be based on what we decide. So if it's just not valid for you, it's not valid for you. If it is, then we navigate. But as far as how I feel about, like manhood and taking this on as a man, parent, like I was, my mentors, they instilled in me like that strength from gate. So it wasn't really like tossed up as a man on like who to be. Yeah.
Which I think, like, for both of you, like I always say when I talk to people about Richard as a father, like, to me, Richard is a top tier dad.
Yeah.
Like, it.
Give it up top tier dad.
Yeah, no, for real.
He is top tier.
Yeah,
He's extremely present as a father.
Yeah.
Like, he's a top tier father, and I do equate that to not only just like Richard's spirit, like he just has a good spirit. Because some of these men,
just don't have good
people
spirits.
just be laying with anybody.
Some people don't even.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of just like you know.
Yeah,
when
no.
But with Richard, like it's not. It's like yes, his spirit fundamentally is good.
Yeah.
And then to put on top of that, the people he has in his life, like his mom was a top tier mom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Dad's a different story. I don't know about that man. But his grandma, top tier.
Yeah.
His grandpa, top tier.
Yeah.
Like, he's been around my family for years.
Yeah.
So, like, Babu, top tier. So, I think that, like, with that in conjunction with him just as a human, it's almost like, even though I feel like at the beginning, to be honest, I feel like Richard and I, different from you, Munir, we did not have that firm, like, it was very much like,
we're ready to have a kid,
and I feel like even with that, still very grounded in himself as a dad. So
no, I can definitely say like I didn't have my dad in my life, and so watching Munir father has like healed me in a way that like has healed me in a way. No, like when people would say that, I'd be like, how does that heal you? Because like it's not your father, but like seriously, like it just shows me that, like you said, it's kind of who that person is. Like, and even like we all have exes. Like I feel like I've dated people that I'm like, like you wouldn't look out for me like that. You know what I'm saying? Or like, how would you treat your kid? Or like, but you're right. And when I look back, a lot of them didn't have that community invested into them. It's one thing to have a community invested into you, like not just your parents, not just your aunties and uncles, like teachers, mentors and places. Like we all have, in our kind of community is a collective community.
Have that. And people, it's evident.
It makes a difference. It makes a difference. And like even how you're supported, like your mom put us together. You know what I'm saying?
She loves to talk about that. I'm like,
does her mom play bass finger? But literally, and I think like even as a mom, I think it just makes you better parents, and I think it shows how important like just like community is. So yeah, what's something as a like with your wives that you maybe had like some frustrations with?
Don't get me.
Because we've talked about our frustrations with dad sometimes. So do y'all have like any frustration?
Oh Lord, why
No.
Oh, they're ready for this.
Look. Not on no OD, but off the strength of what you just said. One of the big things that frustrated me was because you weren't used to having a father or a man operate in a certain sense, there will be things that
I'm big dog.
There were certain things just because you weren't used to that energy present that
I was resistant.
You were resistant to things that you would even associate as like disrespectful and negative. It's like let's talk to somebody. Am I being disrespectful? Am I like let's work this out. Is this disrespect or are you not used to it? And therefore you just feel friction with it. It's like, I asked you if we could do this. Can we do that? We got to uphold this. It's like, oh, I don't like the way you talking to me. It's like, is this really a problem? Because even so much to the point that I would say, let's honor what it is that you feel you're saying and dissect it to see if it's really that. Because if that's really the case, so just that, things that would be, you would just be a little resistant about certain things.
Yeah, I think I didn't know how to feel as a woman that I could still be in my fullness. And Munir is a little older than me, and so I'm a little younger, and so I'm like navigating independence. And I think it was hard for me to like not feel like it's hard to let a man exist in their fullness as a woman when you like feel like you that bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like I know what I'm doing. I got this together. I'm doing this. I pay my bills. And so now when I'm like coming, and my mom is a single mom who's like I don't take no for an answer. I don't answer to no man. You know what I mean?
Yes. And well, my dad was in my life,
Yeah.
very present, but my mom was still like
Very independent.
she's the owner of that house.
Yeah.
Like it
big
doesn't
dog.
know, like let's talk about that. And so even with me having, because that's an issue Richard has too,
Yeah.
and I have a dad in my life.
Yeah.
I mean, even me growing up with a dad, he feels the same way that I've just, since becoming a mom in particular, there have been parts of me that have been super defiant to him.
Yeah.
Whether that be, you know, how we differ from disciplining Paloma, whether that be just like my demeanor in general after having Paloma has changed. Like I have to be completely honest that my tolerance level is 0 to none. It's like really bad.
What is tolerance?
What is tolerance? And so, yeah, I mean, I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's like a mom thing or like I'm not sure if it's something like, I'm not sure, but I do think that it got, I know I had it in me before, but I think it got worse
When you became a mom.
when I became a mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Okay, then put it on the floor, my love. Yep. Good job.
I think there's like I feel very vulnerable in this space sometimes. And so it's like men, sometimes I think their approach to like either telling me I could be wrong. Like the one thing me and Munir are going through right now is like Munir doesn't like that I say what, right? Because now when somebody calls soul names, he's saying what instead of like yes or yes ma'am, yes sir, whatever. And for me, every time he's like Sakinah, I'm like, yo, like I got this. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of like but I see what he's doing and I know that it's important, but I also know that I don't say what all the time.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like this like, but I've always been like this. Like even with my mom, like it's just like I don't want people to tell me what to do, you know. But I think I have to stop looking at it as like my husband is trying to like police me and like tell me what to do or like he doesn't. Because always in my mind there's something else that's being said. When Munir says something to me, I'm never hearing what he says. I'm hearing he doesn't trust me. I'm hearing he doesn't think I'm doing the right thing. He thinks he does it better. You know what I'm saying? There's all these other thoughts I think that go into
You feel like judged.
yeah, and I'm like, yo, let me do me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make it happen, you know. And so,
I get that.
but I mean, you do have to learn, and like I was saying, it's an ego death. I think in marriages to submit. Like I think a lot of women don't talk about like what it really means to like submit to your husband and how that shit really feels. I want to go in a corner and cry sometimes when I have to like shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Or just
I don't even like that.
and
I don't
just
even like thinking
listen.
about it. Yeah. And I think it's more so like, one, I think both parties can be right and wrong. Like, I think that tone can be off, and the way it's not what you say, it's how you say it. That's my thing. The way you approach something matters.
Yeah.
And
We're
I think
sensitive.
We're sensitive, and I
Yeah.
think it really kind of sets the tone. It sets the tone. It
does. Like treat me like a little baby frog.
Because that's how I'm feeling.
You know, like I'm actually a puppy. Like I know I may bark, but I'm not gonna bite.
Yeah, but this is the thing about
I'm gonna cry though.
this is the thing about that though. Just like and I'm not calling you a child,
Good.
but the relation, just correlating, right? Just like a child being told what to do from a very beautiful, polite mommy, if they don't want it, it doesn't even matter sometimes, right? So there have been explorations of the how. A lot more calmer, a lot more polite. The reality is, if you don't want something, it doesn't matter how it's said. That quite often is a means is a preference. because it feels uncomfortable because it's like, I'm going to find something, and don't get it twisted. There have definitely been times where you absolutely correct. Like I could change my tone for sure. Like I can be a lot more kinder, more calmer, more sweeter. Like absolutely. Then there's also times when I have been like, let me exercise that. Hey, Sakinah, we got to what? And it's like, okay, so yeah, it's just the thing itself. So I think it's growth that we both have to do.
No, but that's what I was saying. There's growth because I mean, and Richard can speak to this too. Like I feel like Eve. Yeah, yes, you're right. Because there are some times which I feel like y'all don't get though. You don't know what is going.
You know?
You don't know what muscles I am exercising up here, and I am like, I am
overstimulated.
Constantly. It's like a constant battle. It's like it's one of those things where. It's someone spoke about. We spoke about briefly. It's the silent. Yeah. It's the silent.
Oh, the silent labor.
The silent labor that moms go through.
Yeah.
So, and it's one of those things where, like, say if Richard and I spoke about something beforehand, and he is approaching it that way, but in that moment, I'm like, and it's not even about him. I'm like, oh my god, like I'm about to lose my shit, like because I haven't had time for myself in weeks. I haven't slept fully through the night since she was born.
You know.
Like, no, I work 4 jobs in this freaking economy. Yeah. Like, oh my God. And I'm going to lose it.
Yeah. And a lot of times it's like, it's the timing. It's the icing on the cake. Because sometimes, like, we even have hard conversations. Like, Sakinah, no, you need to go. Or I'm like, Sam, go apologize to him.
You just told me about my whole date night. Like, you know, you need to suck it up.
Like, be soft, you know, but it is a thing. Like, even today, the what thing, like, I was drowning in work. Like, I do social media management. So I had like 4 accounts. By 4 p.m., I need all my posts to be up. It's 4:12. I have 4 accounts to post for and my own. You know what I'm saying? That I'm like making sure. And so we're getting in the car headed to his gig. And he's like, Soul is like, mommy. And I'm like, what? You know what I'm saying? And so in that, it's like, I don't need to be disciplined right now. I actually need help.
I need help. I need help. No. It's like, it's one of those things where it's like, we can't both be on this wave. You know. One, not to say that men and fathers don't have that silent thing going on, but I don't think so.
I mean, I think about like money, like they just talked about money.
Money, that's the thing. But I'm thinking about money too.
Yeah.
At this point, it's like, I don't know. And maybe I am wrong. I will even say this. Maybe I'm wrong and naive for thinking that, but I just be feeling like I can't.
No, please. Richard,
Okay, Richard, chime in. And then Munir, chime in.
You want me to chime in?
Yes. What do you... Well, one, answer the question.
You're on this episode.
Well, one, answer the question. What she asked was, like, what is your kind of annoyance with me after birth? And then 2, deep dive into this because it's pretty... You know,
it's layered.
I mean, I think it's layered in many ways. But in regards to the frustrations that I've seen and perceived, I think I was going to be very selective with my words.
No, just be real.
Nah. Because I ain't trying to be rude.
You know, after this, if you're not real, I'm going to ask you about it later.
You won't?
We need the night to end well when the camera's off.
Right. I think the frustrations that's always been, and we have conversations about this, is allow me to be a father. That's the biggest thing, is allow me to parent. I understand that you are mom, and I respect you being mom, but the biggest thing is when you try to create boundaries for me that does not align with me, that you have in your own mind that I should be, but I don't know, not that on your own mind. But just let me be a father, not me saying like, oh, let me be wild, but let me explore what that should look like. Let me explore, my failures. Let me explore my successes. But like, what are you saying? Oh, I'm just saying. I told you this before.
Real, because that's what we're doing.
But I guess my thing is like, Richard, you haven't even expressed that to me in that tone before.
That's not true.
No. Help me. No.
We need to get on the podcast more. Maybe this is our therapy.
You've never said the phrase, let me explore my failures.
That's deep.
That's deep. That's I'm trying to unpack that.
No.
That's like oh, you got it.
No, meaning like if I mess up in regards to hurting Paloma's feelings, you know what I mean? So that coincides with let me be a father.
And I get what you mean, and I think that also goes back into like my abrupt nature, where like I don't feel like I don't have a moment to decipher how I feel in moments. So it's like when Paloma's doing something, I'm ready to jump up and be like, okay, how do I fix this? How do I resolve this? Because he's right, I'm mom, and that is my constant state. And so when he jumps in and he's fathering and he's parenting, and I see like, you know, maybe because Paloma is so used to me like reprimanding in my way that she's responding in a way that I'm like, no, let me jump in. Let me try to mediate this. Let me And he's like, I got it. It's not, it is top of my mind. It really is, Richard. It's top of my to-do list to be like, okay, how I need to fix this. I need to maneuver around that. But it's hard for me because my constant state is mom, and when I hear her
on alert,
when I hear her, it's immediate. It's like it's a knee-jerk reaction at this point.
But I think if you leaned into him exploring that, it would actually alleviate you from like some of that stress. Because I think when I like finally like, because Munir hated waking up in the middle of the night. Like he hated it, and I hated that he didn't like to wake up. And I used to like just like power through. Hold on. I used to just like power through because I was just like, you know, like it's fine. Like I would just be like, it's fine. But lately I've kind of just been like, if he gonna take over, I'm gonna let him take over. And even though I may feel bad in me as mom, when I allowed him to kind of just step into his fatherhood and kind of expected certain things of him, I feel like it relieved me of like some of the pressure of having to be and do everything.
Yeah. And I can.
So I guess to wrap this episode up.
Oh, say hi. Hi.
Hey, Paloma.
Hi.
Okay.
How do you feel about dads?
Hi, Dad.
Aw, isn't your daddy awesome?
Hi, Dad.
What is one piece of advice you'd give to new dads?
One piece of advice I would give to dads is patience and not just being silent. Patience also having active listening, not only for your spouse, but also yourself and your kid.
Listen to the kids.
Listen to the kids. Being silent and not communicating is not patience. Patience is how you communicate. That's what I learned. Yeah.
Being silent is not patient. What a word.
That's good. You've had 2 good words tonight.
That's the one. That's the one. I don't think it need to be 3, 4. That's the one right there. Just taking your time. I've realized that a lot more is understood. A lot more is mildly kept. When things get extravagant, turned up, or when things can be like this, extremely this way or extremely that way, just being patient and being as calm as possible, no matter what you feeling. Yeah. It's just like, man, you don't realize how much. I know that mothers are the core and center heart of the family, but fathers really are the rock. Like fathers is like, bro, if you don't keep it steady, everything is gonna be however it's gonna be, and so it's a balance. Like mothers are the heart, like, but fathers just like keep that like. Now I understand a lot more the men that I saw growing up, why they may have had that tone of just a lot more like they kept it cool. I used to be like, man, why they so? Of course there was always men who were. But for the most part, I seen a lot of men who were very much so it was just the tone. It was a certain tone. And now I get it. It's just like, you got to keep a certain tone. Otherwise, everything could be everywhere. So, yeah, patience, and just as much as possible seeing that through. Yeah.
Okay, wait. I have a question for you. Then.
Oh, what?
This is the last question. What advice do you have for moms to help the fathers and like the spouses? Like... Or not even to help them, but even to help themselves, like them or themselves navigate the space.
I think patience is universal for everybody because
Yeah.
like we've all this is our first time living this life. None of us really we can all think we know, but like everything I thought I known before like getting into this experience, good job, has been completely different. I think another thing that's been helpful, there's been this so y'all know, I think his name's Tyrese, right? My Shayla.
My Shayla.
So there's this trend on TikTok where it's like they show their spouses and they're like, whenever I get mad at my spouse, I just like see the baby picture. And when I see Munir's baby's pictures, I'm like, oh, this is like who I'm dealing with. You know what I'm saying? And so then I have a lot more compassion, especially as a mom, because it's like that was like he was a young boy who's just like, and Munir has a lot of that like. He has a lot of that still childlike energy. I feel like men do typically like
Childish.
Yeah, like we like women be like we're adults, we're sophisticated, and men be like yo, you know what I'm saying? It's like a different vibe. Yeah,
It's different.
and so I think seeing him like that has given me just a lot of compassion. That like this is his first time doing any of this. He's not had a wife before. That's something alone. That is something to navigate, and I know how I can be for my mom. I can't imagine somebody who chose to be with me. You know what I'm saying? Like my mom had to be with me.
I would say one thing that I wish I had done earlier on and that I started doing recently is giving the fathers and the husbands praise. And he has like, you know, a win. Letting him know, like, wow, like you did that.
I see
like,
you,
I see
yeah.
you. That's so awesome. Or just letting him know randomly, you're such a great supporter. You're an amazing father. I see how you were with Paloma. Like, thank you so much for, you know, doing dinner tonight. Just the small things.
Giving praise,
acknowledgement and praise. Yeah.
Well,
that concludes it.
This has been a great episode. We obviously need a part 2 because we have like all these ideas about other things.
It's too much to talk about with the husbands and the fathers.
And maybe next time without the babies.
100%. Yeah.
But thank y'all for coming to Car Seat Conversations. Any last remarks?
Great is your mercy towards me.
All right.
That's a wrap. We'll see ya.
Bye.